Sorry. What's going on YouTube? Trucking Life here. One more time, guys. Guys and gals and gals and guys. I don't know where I got that from, man. I like saying it though.
I say it every time because I love it. I love it.
Today, guys, we got a special guest on our podcast today. And he got a lot of interesting things to share. And we'll get into the podcast. So, how you doing, brother?
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out. Thank you for coming over, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, so first thing I want to ask you, man, like, how'd you get into trucking? Keep talking.
Easy. I worked at a warehouse for a while. I was in a union for probably 12, 15 years, something like that. And after about 100 years, the company closed. So I said, what am I going to do now? I got a great idea. Let's go drive a truck. You know, what a wonderful idea. Got my went to CDL school, got my license, went to drive for a produce company, another union outfit. Drove for them for a while, didn't think the money was what it should have been. So after that I said, well, I got some retirement, why don't I go buy a truck? One got me a truck, not the best of trucks, but an old Volvo. Had about 10 million miles on it, but it was mine and I liked it. So I bought it. And after that, it needed, you know, probably $20,000 that I didn't have that I had to put into it. And started off there, running regional routes, Lowbore freight, negotiating rates with brokers, stuff like that. And that did that for a while, and then that truck broke down. Got another truck. Kind of segued through the same thing. Kept running Lowbore freight, negotiating rates with brokers, doing that. Regional, then I got more close to local. Then I leased on with local companies and ran more LTL. And after that, now here I am at Rails.
So
with a better truck.
So I heard you say you went from a company that was 100 years and then closed
100
down.
years. It was a warehouse that was open for 100 years and they closed after 100 years in business.
How long was you with them, guys?
I was with them 12 years. Yeah, 12 years.
Had all the injuries to get into outside of that, what made you get into trucking?
A buddy of mine, Brady, good friend of mine, he had got into it before me, and he said, listen, the money here is definitely better, because he had worked the warehouse with me. And you're working for yourself, and I always wanted to work for myself. So he got me into it. He kind of showed me the ropes. He didn't really know what he was doing in the beginning either, so we kind of helped each other out, and that's how we did it. He got it first, and then I went after that, and him and I are still in it to this day. So I'd say he had the most influence on me. Brady probably had the most influence. Great guy, helped me out, still helps me to this day.
So there's still some good people.
There is still good people, believe it or not.
Okay.
A few of us, you count on one hand how many, but that's okay.
But it's still somebody.
There's some.
You gotta be positive.
I know.
All right, so now, when you first got your truck, what made you not become a company driver first? I heard you say you bought a truck, the first truck.
Well, I was a company driver. I was with a produce company. I hauled reefer freight, and the money, I worked a lot of hours, and the money I didn't think it was that good. You know, you could make anywhere from 700, maybe 1,000, working 70 hours a week, and I was killing myself. And I said, there's got to be something better than this. So, you know, a buddy of mine said, hey, try this out. It's more than double what you're making now. And I said, wow, double? And, you know, of course, what I thought is, man, I'm going to put all that money in my pocket. That's not the way it goes in trucking as an owner operator.
So what made you want to keep going? When you bought your truck, you had to dump 20 grand into it, right?
20 grand, yeah.
So what made you want to keep going? Most people would have gave up at that point. What made you say, I'm going to keep going with this?
Well, not to mention the money, but the hard work I put into it, getting the business name, putting the money into it, going to the trucking school, everything I did to lead up to that way, I didn't want to quit. You're tens of thousands of dollars into this. I'm going to see this out. And if that means I got to work 100 hours a week, I'm going to work 100 hours a week. But I'm going to stay doing this until I get successful at it. I'm not going to quit. I spent nearly my entire retirement is into trucking between 3 of the trucks that I have. I'm not going to quit. I'm still not going to quit. It's tough every day, but you're in the business. You want to win. Everybody wants to win. I don't want to lose. I'm not quitting. I've never been a quitter. I'm not going to quit.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because we'll get to it eventually in this video too, guys, that you do rail yards too. So if you're able to hold on to the rail yards and not quit, and the other stuff is light work.
Every day, sometimes I want to quit the rail yards.
I tell everybody. I tell anybody, you want to do rails as a stepping stone to kind of get you to the next move, which you got plans on, which we'll get to later on this podcast too. Also too, so let me ask you this, man. So from your first truck, you said you ran Lowbores. What was you running Lowbores with, or who was you with, or how was you running Lowbores?
I ran under an authority, a different authority for a different company.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people know that as you're an operator, they think that it's your truck, your company. It is, but you're running underneath somebody else's authority number.
Okay.
So they get a cut off your truck, whether it's 10, 12%, 30%, whatever that company takes. So I ran under their authority because I didn't have my authority. And what I did was I got a DAT Lowbore, and I literally just went, where do I want to go? How much do I want to make? How far do I want to go? 300 miles, 150 miles. It depends on what the load base. What I had to figure out was cost of the truck, and that was the tough part. But to your question, I ran under this company's authority, and I ran Lowbore freight. Any kind of freight that was out there that would run Midwest, Detroit, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Columbus, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Iowa, I would call the broker on the phone. We would negotiate a rate. I would go pick it up, take it there, and then when I got to St. Louis, I would call the broker up, negotiate a rate to get back home to Chicago. And I went back and forth like that for a while, probably about a year and a half to 2 years.
So what made you get burnt out from doing that, or tired from doing that, or did you get burnt out?
No, I did get burnt out. I got burnt out because the pay was so up and down, and it just, every day you don't know where you're going. You negotiate rates, you're fighting with these brokers. You know what the load should pay. They're not going to give you that money. You're going to argue back and forth with these people. Then what they do is you negotiate a rate. It takes you all morning to negotiate a rate. You get in the truck and you get an email because they don't have the what's to call you. You get an email say the load's been canceled. The load's not canceled. You find somebody to haul it cheaper. That's what happened. We all know that. It's no secret in the trucking game. So now I'm sitting here having to go through this Lowbore again to try to find out what's left. Everybody else is picked off of it because now it's 11 o'clock in the morning. And you get tired of that. You get tired. And some brokers don't pay. You sit at a ship and receiver 4 or 5 hours, you better have patience. We're going to pay you detention. Well, if you don't get that rate con and you don't get it signed, you're not getting any detention. You could sit there for free. And that's why patience in this game is big, because you want to reach for the phone and choke these people to death because they're messing with your livelihood and they're messing with your time. And you talk about time all the time.
So like, for the guys that don't know about trucking, so is this, you just say this like a need to know business? Or what kind of business? Or people just grab you by your hand and say, hey, everything you need to know about trucking is right here. Let me walk you through and
if there
show
was
you everything.
Oh, well, I can tell you right now, if they had that option, I would sign up for it because I didn't know what I was doing. So if that's out there, people better get it or show me where it's at, because I didn't have any of that. I didn't have none of that. I would call people that were in trucking that weren't in the business I was in. They had no idea. They worked for a company. I don't know nothing about brokers, nothing about negotiating rates. I don't know what the cost to operate a truck is. I don't know how many miles you're supposed to get paid per mile, per hour, per load. They don't know. Some people don't even know what detention pay is. I had no idea. If they had something like that, great, but it's not out there. So nobody took me by my hand. Tommy took me by his own hand. A lot of faults, a lot of mistakes I made, a lot of money I lost. This is a tough game. This is not for the faint of heart. This is you're going to work a lot of hours. You're going to drive on nights. You're going to drive days. You're going to drive afternoons. Holidays. You want to stay home, you can stay home. But if that truck sits, it doesn't make money. But there's still costs associated with that truck. So stay home with your family, enjoy your holidays. But you ain't going to have no money for gifts on Christmas because that truck's sitting. So it's a tough game. So I think if that was available, I would have taken the option. But it's not available.
So like patience. I know you want to talk about patience, and you want to let the people know certain things about patience. What would you suggest about the patient thing?
I say patience because of this. I would get mad when I go to ship a receiver because they take forever. Warehouses don't want to load you, they want to unload you. The rail yard, you're sitting in lines. The crane operator, you're the next one in line. He's about to put the box in, and guess what? Shift change. I'm going to lunch. Now I see guys get out the truck and want to kill this guy, but that ain't going to make this man get in the crane any faster and get you your box. So what I've known is, what is the saying? You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Yeah. So in this game, you got to have patience. I've noticed that I've been more successful in this game when I get to the lady at the receiver and she's, give me your paperwork, what do you want? What? Okay, ma'am, how you doing today? How's your day? That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
Keep talking.
You know, I just want to know how far in the line, how long do I got to go? But be patient with these people. They're having a bad day. Some don't like truck drivers for whatever reason. I don't know. They're smelly, big, scary, whatever the reason is. But you got to be patient with these crane operators, with these spotters, with the shippers and receivers, because they're going to treat you terribly. But the more anger you get towards them, you're just going to get that reciprocated back to you. So patience in this game is huge. You're going to sit there, you're going to wait, either deal with it or find yourself a new career, because you need patience in this game, because it's gonna get to you, whether you're waiting in line to get in one of these rail yards, or you're waiting to get unloaded, or you're waiting to get loaded. You have to be patient, because if you yell at these people, they got something for you, I'm gonna tell you right now. And it's gonna cause you to not go home that day for a very long time.
So like, was all your trucks, back to your trucks for a second, I want to touch on that so guys missed this.
Yeah.
You had 3 trucks.
I did.
Was all 3 trucks doing intermodal, or was some of them doing a Lowbore and the last 2 was intermodal? How'd that go?
They all were doing Lowbore freight. All some regional, some LTL, and that's what they were doing. The Volvo, the KW. I had somebody in the KW that I bought and brought on with me, that was working for me. He was in that truck. But the Volvo and the KW did nothing but consistently break down. I mean, almost put me under with how much money I shelled out in cash and credit cards to keep these 2 trucks running. But my 3rd truck is now the Peterbilt I got, and that by far has been my best truck. That truck's done everything. It's done cardboard, food, regional, load to load, and now it's doing rail. And it's doing really good at rail. Now that I made some adjustments to the emission system, it works a lot better now.
Okay.
I would recommend that people do adjustments and help your truck out.
All right, so like for the Peterbilt, take out Peterbilt. I know most people say, I know me personally, I stayed away from the Peterbilts and the KWs when I first started, because I knew your money had to be kind of okay to kind of maintain that thing. What made you want to do the Peterbilt route?
Because of the bad experience I had with the Volvo and the KW. I understand what you're saying, because you're right. A lot of guys I know go for the used trucks because they're just more affordable, and that's what I did too. But I felt like that was a big mistake on my part. So if you can, I realize guys are not in a situation to where they have the best credit. They're starting out, they don't have a lot of cash. So you might have to go the used truck route. But I did that already. It didn't work for me. So I took every last dime I had, and the Volvo I had, they were only going to give me what the metal was worth on it. That's how bad this truck was. They said, if you can limp it here, we'll give you a couple thousand. That's what the guy told me. I went all the way up to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And I finally just said, you know what, I'm going to buy a decent truck. I found me a Peterbilt with about 400,000 miles on it, great condition. I love the truck, and I just said, if I'm going to make this work, I need a good running truck. And it was a good running truck, and it's, sure, I've had to put some money into it, but it's been a good truck. It's made me money. It's still running to this day. And I take care of it. I get oil changes every 10 to 12,000 miles. Guys want to go 20,000 because Peterbilt told me I can go 20, 25. Don't do that. It would burn up oil. Don't do that. If you're going to run local, you're going to run rail, you got to get that oil change. You got to change your filters. It's the same kind of stuff you say. You got to maintain that truck. You should be taking 10 cents for every mile you're running, or at least 500 a month out for that truck. But guys don't always do that. They don't remember, or they want to take the money, or whatever the reason. But maintenance on my truck has kept my Peterbilt going. I went that route because it was the route way to go. If you got a little bit of credit, you got a little bit of money, in my opinion, I would tell you go and get a decent Peterbilt. I would not, if you want to get a used truck, but you're going to get the used problems with that used truck. Peterbilt didn't have that many miles on it. It was still in great condition. I've had better, that route has worked for me as opposed to the used truck. It didn't work for me, but it might work for other people. It worked for you. I'm sure it works, but it didn't work for me.